It's been 3 years since the Quarry came out, and I'm here to help with answering some of the big questions. Is it worth playing? Should you buy it? Is the Quarry a good game? Buckle up as we head into this review, avoiding those major story spoilers along the way. The Quarry from Supermassive Games is a thrilling, interactive horror drama that immerses you into a chilling night at Hackett's Quarry summer camp. As 9 counselors, you'll face a web of mystery and danger, with your choices driving the story's outcome. Expect a movie-like experience packed with intense moments and a haunting atmosphere inspired by classic horror tropes. This is a game where you're coming primarily for the story and shouldn't expect a lot of action in the actual gameplay. It's best described as an interactive movie, honestly. It's not a bad thing, as it works for a game like this. You'll mainly be switching from character to character as the story goes along. Dialogue is one of the main driving forces in this game. How you react or interact in a situation could result in something later down the line without you realizing the significance of your actions. You'll be given freedoms to explore your surrounding, which is beneficial for you to help piece together context on what the hell is happening at Hackett's Quarry. You'll find clues and even spooky tarot cards, which can help give glimpses into a character's possible future when speaking with a freaky, ominous old lady who appears in cutscenes throughout. For those brief moments of intense action, the game primarily relies on quick-time events, where your reaction speeds mean everything. Make the right choice too, or the consequences could be dire. Do you run and hide? Do you take a shortcut or stick to the path? Do you attempt to help a comrade or save yourself? The game will give you glimpses of what is to come in the prologue with Max and Laura, then shifts in the beginning chapters with the rest of the gang at the lodge. In comparison to Supermassive Games' previous slasher teen horror game, Until Dawn, I wouldn't call this cast loaded. There may be some faces you recognize from shows or movies, but no industry big names this time around. Now that you have an idea on what the game is about, here is where things get real. The Quarry does some things well and that are likable, but then there are also things where it misses the mark, and it could make or break your experience. Let's address the bad so we can get to the good afterwards. Stick around because you'll want to have the full picture. The Quarry is played out in 10 main chapters, with being bookended between a prologue and an epilogue. It took me about 10 hours to beat. The story is fun, but if you've ever seen a slasher-style horror film, you'll be able to see things coming. It's been said this game has 186 possible endings. This, I think, could be seen as a pro and a con. It can be seen as a pro with how much replayability that could offer a player. However, you do have to take into consideration quantity over quality here, because without diving into the details, I'm all about no sugarcoating. By the time I reached the end of my playthrough, I was disappointed on how many questions I still had that were left unanswered. There were things that could have been flushed out a lot more than what they were. Some of the outcomes were just a mess. Like, they didn't put as much effort into this character as another one. I understand juggling 9 main characters could have its challenges, but come on. I'm not going to give specifics, but I had one character where he basically got left in the woods, and I didn't see or deal with the guy for hours. Then, when he did make an appearance again, he didn't really get a real conclusion to his part of the story. The last big negative I had about this game is about the epilogue. To me, after surviving horrific events and investing 10 hours into this scary game, I was hoping for a bit more than what they gave me, because personally, it felt like a punch to the face. My only reference to compare this to is in Until Dawn, they had it where if you had surviving characters, they give more insight and you can see the trauma as they tell of their stories as the credits roll, really letting the players see the results of their actions. And it gives you closure. In the remastered version that came out in 2024, there is even a post-credit scene. That's how you reward a player for beating your game. Instead, in the Quarry, you get nothing from the main characters and have to hear it from an outside source talking about them to learn more, which doesn't even feel that rewarding. It felt rushed, anticlimactic, and was very poor closure for the characters. Now, to highlight some of the good in this game. If you go into this game having the mindset of, I'm just here to play a teen slasher film style of a game, not really looking to get a lot out of it, just for fun during spooky season, I will say Supermassive Games has some nice features introduced in the Quarry, like Wolfpack mode, which will allow you to do a multiplayer session. One host controls the characters while up to 7 friends join in to vote on key story decisions. The sad part about this is, all players will have to own the game to participate. No friend pass of sorts where one person could own the game and others could join in on that host, which I feel is a missed opportunity. If you have a group gathered around at the same location, there is also the choice of couch co-op, where up to 8 players locally control different characters by passing around the controller. Very old school, but still not a bad option. Something I did quite like that the Quarry did is giving the feeling of old school without it being in that era. It gives the feeling of 80s vibes, VHS style menus, pop rock music transitions, and you could even see the heavy movie influences from that time frame too, like Friday the 13th. What's fascinating is the game technically takes place in the summer of 2021, but with bones not being too relevant or useful, it helps maintain that throwback feel. I'll be honest, I have mixed feelings about my experience with the Quarry. There were things I liked, and some I didn't. Looking at the big picture, is the game worth it? To an extent. I bought this game last year on sale for $15. I think that's the most I'd be willing to spend on this if I had the choice again. I like butterfly effect games and the replayability those games offer. However, I do not see myself returning to this game, as for me, it goes in the category of a one and done. It does have some scary moments, but the amount of comedic relief from super corny jokes and how awkward the conversations are at times helps that come down a bit. If you haven't already checked it out and want a similar game, which in my opinion is better than the Quarry, and it will be scarier, I have a spoiler-free Until Dawn review I'll put at the end of this video. For more spoiler-free reviews and gaming content, please consider subscribing if you haven't already, as I'd love to have you join this growing gaming community we have here. But most importantly, remember to take care of yourself. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video.